Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setups for today. So we're sideways at the moment. This is a sideways range. Oscillators are starting to move to the downside, so kind of diversions if you think about it. At the same time, if I just draw a level here along the tails, you'll see prices making a series of higher lows. Oscillators is making lower lows. And even if you take the top of this, you can see prices making a series of higher highs, but the oscillators last week were making lows. So that is diversions. Doesn't matter which way you look at it. I know that kind of looks like a range, and you would expect a break to the upside in the direction you have been going. I'm on a different view of this at the moment. This is sideways for sure. I'm not really interested in trading sideways, but to me there is more of a bearish bias here than a bullish bias. So in all honesty, you could still possibly just toss a coin and pick a direction. But we had some really bad jobs numbers come out. Market sort of just were confused, tried to rally and then fell and then climbed again. So nothing really on offer here. I suspect this trend line that we have here, which is around 45.21, is the one that we need to break. So 4,500 is obviously going to be the level. That's going to be the line in the sand. If we see a break of that and a retest of that, that is going to trigger more downside. At the moment, you can't argue the fact that we're in an uptrend. We're making higher highs, we're making higher lows, moving averages pointing to the upside. The only difference is, look at my oscillators, they've crossed over and pointing to the downside. So the trick at the moment is trying to anticipate what investors are trying to do. Everything. When you look at the stocks themselves, individual stocks that make up the stock market, so many of them are overbought and overvalued at the moment. So normally you would see a correction. You would really, you'd see people taking profit, which would drive price of the stocks down, and then you'd see the bargain hunters come in and buy the stocks at a better price. But at the moment, nobody's selling and nobody's buying. So that's kind of what we see going on at the moment. There's nothing really that is inciting me to say we need to be trading this. We need to buy. So in other words, this is range bound. And for as long as it's range bound, I have zero interest in trading it. So if I just put sort of horizontals in here, I'm going to leave that bottom trend line in because that is pretty important. I have a feeling if you look at how we've been buying off that, I suspect, and that's the 155 on the hour as well. So this 41.20 area, 45.20 area, sorry, is clearly the area we need to be paying attention to. Look at this, how we're hovering below the moving averages here. But again, we are in a bull trend, even on the hour. So there's absolutely no reason to be looking for shorts right now. We did get a lower high. There was a high. That was when the data came out. You could see confusion, then sell-off, and then buyers coming in. But it did form a lower high, which is there. So it's kind of confusing at the moment as far as I'm concerned. And whenever it's confusing, you sit on the sidelines, and that is my advice at the moment. The opportunity you're getting in early for a short is always very, very attractive, especially when you're at a lofty high like this and you're anticipating a relatively big correction. A lot of people will take that risk, but the problem is the probability of those trades playing out are very low. And I'm a little bit more conservative than that. I like protecting my capital. So we need to wait for the trigger if it is going to be a short brewing. And I don't see the trigger just yet. So for me, this is all sideways. On the 15-minute now, see the oscillators have sort of crossed over at the moment, and we are forming higher, sort of lower highs. So there is your structure, and there is your more structure on the 15-minute. So that's the triangle that's in play inside a range right now. So yeah, let's wait and see what transpires. If we do sort of break to the downside or maintain this top trend line, there is a possibility, but I suspect buyers will still come in here at 45.20 and then 4500. So yeah, it's still sideways for me. So there's a good 200 odd points to play with, well, pips, not points, to play with here. So and that's either way, to the upside or the downside. So my advice is quite simple this morning: 15 minutes or lower if you've got the time and patience to watch that, and watch carefully, because you are going to either touch the top of the range or bottom of the range. And if you start breaking to the bottom of the range and sort of come back and test that, especially this trend line at 45.20, that could be the catalyst for a fairly big move to the downside. So if you look at the 3 hour, that would at least, a break of this area here is going to bring you into the 4500 area. I would buy off the 4500 just simply because the trend is up at the moment. There's no reason to worry about that. But for somebody that is looking for a short, that's a fairly strong short. But you're going to have to make sure that you have a really tight stop and you wait for the catalyst to be as clear as day before even looking at that. Me personally, I have zero interest in that. So if I am going to play short, I'd want to see price come down to the 4500, buy in at 4500, take profit at 45.18, and then watch what happens here, because more than likely, if we break through this level, we will reject this level, and then that would probably trigger a bigger move down somewhere into this area here. That would be the 44.83 area, at least to start with. So that's kind of the way I would trade this short if there was one on offer. Longs at the moment is definitely off the 4500. Not interested in buying off the bottom of this because I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to break through this. So 4500 and just below 4500 is going to offer the opportunity to buy into this. So 4500 and 44.97. Those are the two areas that I would be paying attention to for a buy-in, but definitely take profit at 45.18. So that's the only trade that I can see at the moment. Not interested in trading anything inside this range right now. Anyway, hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.